They say the strongest person isn't the one who lifts the heaviest weight or shouts the loudest. The strongest person is the one who can be insulted, provoked, and attacked, and still choose silence. But how? How do you remain calm when everything inside you wants to explode? A man once traveled far to ask this very question. He came to a teacher sitting beneath a tree. The teacher's name was Gautama Buddha, and the answer he received would change his life forever. Buddha looked at the man and said, "Let me tell you a story. There was once a powerful king. He ruled a wealthy land and commanded armies. One day, he visited a neighboring kingdom, curious to meet its famous wise ruler. A great feast was prepared, the finest dishes were laid before him. But as the king lifted his spoon to taste the soup, he noticed something small floating on the surface. A fly. His face twisted in disgust. He slammed down the spoon and shouted for his servant, "Take this away! Bring me another bowl, immediately!" The neighboring king watched quietly. Then he smiled and said, "Your Majesty, forgive me, but may I offer you a small piece of wisdom?" The visiting king, still irritated, nodded. "It is not the fly that has ruined your meal," the wise king said gently. "It is your reaction to it. The fly is small. It has no power over you, unless you give it power. You could have simply removed it and continued eating. But instead, you let it ruin your mood, your meal, and now, your peace." The visiting king fell silent. In that moment, he understood something he had never seen before. He returned to his kingdom a changed man. From that day forward, whenever something happened that would have once made him furious, the king would pause. A servant made a mistake? He breathed. A minister disagreed with him? He listened. A fly landed in his soup? He removed it. He discovered something remarkable. The situations themselves hadn't changed, but his experience of them had transformed completely. The same event that once left him seething now left him untouched, not because the world had become kinder, but because he had stopped giving away his power. Buddha looked at the man seeking advice and said, "Do you see? The fly was never the problem. The anger was always yours to keep or release." In another time, in another place, there lived a young man named Michael. Michael was intelligent, ambitious, and hardworking. But he had one problem that undid all his gifts. He reacted. When someone criticized him, he snapped back. When things went wrong, he exploded. When he felt hurt, he said things he could never take back. His relationships suffered. His friends grew tired. His family walked on eggshells around him.
I am the problem. My reactions are destroying everything I love.
Michael didn't know where to start. So he began simply. He started sitting in silence for 10 minutes each morning, not trying to empty his mind, just watching it, noticing his thoughts without chasing them. He learned to recognize the physical signs of rising anger, the tightness in his chest, the heat in his face, the urge to speak. And in that tiny gap between feeling and action, he found something he never knew existed: choice. The next time someone provoked him, he didn't react. He breathed. He waited. And then, calmly, he responded. It felt strange at first, weak almost. He had always believed that anger was strength. Now he understood the truth. Anger is easy. Silence is hard. Reacting takes no skill. Restraint takes everything. Weeks passed. Months. Michael's friends began to notice. "You've changed," one said. "You used to get so upset. Now nothing seems to bother you." Michael smiled. "Things still bother me. I just don't let them control me anymore." One day, a friend came to him in distress. He was going through a painful breakup, consumed by anger and hurt. Michael listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't offer quick fixes. He just sat with his friend in the pain. When the friend finished, he looked at Michael with tears in his eyes and said, "How do you stay so calm? How do you never lose control?" Michael replied, I do lose control. I just catch myself faster than I used to. And someday, I hope to catch myself before I fall at all. Here is what Michael learned. Here is what the king learned. Here is what Buddha taught. Not reacting does not mean not feeling. You will still feel anger. You will still feel hurt. You will still feel frustration. These are human. They are not your enemy. The enemy is the automatic response. The moment when feeling becomes action without your permission. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is your power, your freedom, your choice. Most people never find that space. They live their entire lives on autopilot, reacting to every fly that lands in their soup, every insult, every inconvenience. But you can learn to pause. And in that pause, everything changes. The ancient teachers understood this long before psychology gave it a name. They said, "He who holds back rising anger like a rolling chariot, he is the true driver. Others only hold the reins." They said, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. They said, wait, one who conquers himself is greater than one who conquers 1,000 armies. Because the battlefield is not out there. It is here, inside your own mind. The mind is like water. When it is turbulent, you cannot see clearly. You thrash, you drown, you hurt yourself and everyone around you. But when it becomes still, everything becomes clear. The bottom appears. The way forward reveals itself. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is readiness. So, how do you begin? First, notice. Notice when your body tenses. Notice when your jaw clenches. Notice when your thoughts start racing. These are your early warning signs. Second, breathe. Just one breath. One conscious inhale and exhale before you speak. That single breath is enough to reclaim your power. Third, ask yourself, will this matter tomorrow? Next week? In a year? Most things won't. And the things that will, they deserve your calmest response, not your angriest. Fourth, remember, you cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. Always. The man who came to Buddha seeking advice listened to these stories. He sat in silence for a long moment. Then he bowed and walked away. He didn't need to ask anything else. He already had his answer. Years later, people would come to him for advice. They would ask how he remained so calm, so steady, so unshaken. And he would tell them the same story. About a king and a fly. About a young man named Michael. About the space between stimulus and response. About the power of not reacting. The fly will always land. The insult will always come. The frustration will always knock at your door. But you do not have to answer. You can simply watch it knock. And wait. And breathe. And in that waiting, you will find something precious. Yourself.